Hello and welcome to our Visionary Leaders Launch Day. It's June 2022. My name is Erin Fugate and I'm joined by the amazing Eliza Yoshida. Say hi, Eliza.
Morning, everybody.
And Diane Del Reyes. Say hi, Diane.
Hello.
So we're going to introduce ourselves for sure. And we want to just kind of let you know what's going to happen today. So I'll introduce myself first, then Liza, then Diane, and then we'll give a little agenda introduction, let you know what we're up to. So if you don't know me, my name is Erin Fugate. I'm one of the founding members of the Visionary Leaders community, and I've been with Doterra for 14 years. I'm a Blue Diamond wellness advocate, and I've been using essential oils since I was 11 years old. So, oh my gosh, over 30 years I've had essential oils in my life. But really the last 14 years, I started to use them heavily for some health issues that I was having, namely stomach issues, digestive issues, weird rashes, emotional, hormonal imbalance. And they were so incredible that I had to share, as I'm sure many of you have a similar story. So I'm happy to be here and I can't wait to help you launch your business. Liza, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody. I'm Liza Yoshida. I am from the island of Maui in Hawaii. And gosh, this is my 9th year with Doterra. It's so crazy to feel like I'm an old timer. I'm a public school educator of 19 years as well. Super proud of that. I am a Blue Diamond US Founder 2.0, and I am the founder of the Central Island Living community, which is a community that falls under the Visionary Leaders community. So super passionate. I was a huge essential oil skeptic, convert. So remember, a no now doesn't mean a no forever. And just super passionate, not only about the oils and the products and what they can do for people, but truly what this business opportunity can do for people, especially. And many of you might live there now. I guess we all live there in a place and a time when multiple streams of income are so critical. But you know, in Hawaii, the median price of a average home is $1 million, and we live inflation like all the time, not just when there's actual inflation. So I'm super passionate about helping people build a residual and that's, you know, multiple stream of income so that they can live the life that you want to live. So anyway, happy to be here and excited to be with you guys.
Thank you. Happy you're here. Diane, tell us about you.
So, hey, I'm Diane Del Reyes. I am by trade a licensed acupuncturist. I've been in that world for over 20 years. And now I have about 10 years of essential oil education under my belt. I'm a diamond with doTERRA. And I actually was a super skeptic about essential oils. I thought they were just like potpourri. Like they weren't just like real medicine, because I was just like, I know I prescribe herbs. That's part of my scope of practice. I studied them for years. I know what I'm doing. And so when Dr. Josie introduced essential oils to me, I thought, are you for real right now? and because I trusted her and had my mind open, I said, all right, I'll work with my patients and see. And literally within the first month, I had incredible results with my patients. So it was like after the third person had a major breakthrough, I was like, okay, got it. I have to learn more about these. And I wanted to understand them within the framework of Chinese medicine, because I had like one of these like palm slap moments going, oh, wait, when you're working with pure essential oils, where do you think they're coming from, Diane? The same herbs that you're prescribing, but they're actually more effective. They're 50 to 70% more effective than the herb equivalent. And guess what? Compliance was much higher. Like people enjoyed using essential oils more than bitter herbs and I was prescribing them. So anyway, I just like started studying with them. I created an online course called Oil Alchemy. I teach everything within this framework, and I just love teaching people how to use oils on acupuncture points and really kind of take their understanding to another level, like really helping people understand to look underneath and not just say, I have a headache, what oil should I use? You know what I mean? Because everybody is unique. And I love doTERRA because it helps us individualize this plant medicine. So I'm happy to be here, and I love business. For those who know me, I love being an entrepreneur. I love teaching. I love creating businesses. So it's my jam.
Yes, so glad you're here. Yes, agree with lots of things that you all said, especially being an entrepreneur, especially with the way the world is going. We need this option. So that's what we're here for today, is we are here to support you as you launch your doTERRA business. So just put in the chat if you are brand new and this is your first training and you're just getting started. Put in the chat if you're in relaunch phase. Put in the chat if you have brought team members to this call. We kind of want to know what level you're at and who we're working with. In April, we did a 3-hour webinar that was awesome. Put that in the chat if you have listened to it. I'm going to put the link in case you haven't. We definitely recommend that you take the time to listen to that webinar. You can chunk it down, and we have it in like 20 to 30-minute presentations from each of us. So chunk it down and listen to it as you're doing dishes, you're going for a run, you're in the car. Listen to it over and over again, because we've got a lot of good information in there, and it's really designed to help you get started. I just want to give you a little recap of what we went over in the webinar. In case you haven't looked at it, I do a business overview in 15 minutes. And so it's a really fast business overview, but it's designed to show you that you can share that information in short and concise manner. We do a why exercise with Diane. And if you haven't explored your why, we highly recommend that you spend the time too. Here is a quick example of why that's important. When you wake up in the morning, day after day, and you have business activity to do, which in doTERRA, it's contacting and inviting. There will be days, I promise you, that you're going to feel like you don't want to do it. And you know what? One day like that is okay, but not 2. And definitely not 3, and definitely not 4. And the way that you keep that activity going is you're in touch with a strong why, a strong desire. Because if you know why you want this, if your desire is as intense as your desire to live and breathe, you're going to wake up every day and do it. So you want to do that foundational work to figure out your why. Then Liza talks to us about time blocking. So figuring out how to fit this into your schedule. And she's the perfect person to talk about it because she's a busy mom and a school teacher. So if Eliza can find the time to do it, anyone can, and she gives us her tips. Then I share.
And can I just say real quick?
Yeah.
I just love, because I was just, for those of you who were on a little early, I literally sent out, while waiting, about 5 invites on my phone to an aroma touch training that I'm doing here in town with a Crossline Blue Diamond. But it's like, it doesn't have to be a big deal. Like, it can be as simple as I'm waiting for dinner to cook. Whatever. It can be done so easily, so easily.
Yes,
to put that in there.
Agreed. I've over the years, it's just become a habit of these certain times in my day that I just do it. I actually can't not do it now. Have you all gotten to that point where it's such a habit that you just can't not? So we help you with that. We also talk about just what inviting is, because this business is truly all about inviting. You're inviting people to take a sample, inviting them to a class, inviting them to look at the business, inviting them to a webinar, inviting them to convention. So we talk about that. We talk about finding business partners, because guess what? This is business can only go so far on your own. You can do some awesome business with customers and just you. But when it gets really fun is when you have other people who want to do it with you. So we talk about finding those people. We talk about what you do when you find them, because sometimes that'll hold us back, right? We'll be like, well, what do I do when somebody says yes? I don't know what to do. So we teach you what to do. And then we share with you some incredible continued training. A few highlights of that would be oil games that Elise Chedevi puts out. That's a really great way to launch your business. We talk to you about the daily mentor calls. We talk to you about the Empowered Success webinar, and of course, our community call on Mondays at 5 p.m. So that's just a little recap. Go back and watch it. When you have, here's a little hint. When you have someone who says yes to the business with you, have them watch the 3-hour webinar. It's a perfect place for them to start. So what we're going to do in our time together, we're going to hang out here for about an hour, and I can hang out a little bit longer if we get going and there's more questions. I want to make sure that we get all your questions answered. We have a few questions that were submitted, a few commonly asked questions that we're going to address, but we want you to also put your burning questions in the chat. We really want to make sure that you've kind of cleared out any of your concerns, that you get some mentorship, some coaching, so that you can leave this webinar and you can start contacting, inviting, finding your business partners, and teaching people about essential oils. Sound good? Yes, yay. And Colt, welcome. I'm so excited that you're new here. Awesome. We have some people relaunching. So happy that you're here. So grab that. I'm going to put it again. Here's that webinar. Save that in the notes of your phone, so you always have access to it. It's on YouTube. You can always find our YouTube channel from our team website, hellovisionary.life, but having that direct link is really helpful. Okay, ladies, who's ready for the first question? We're gonna do this kind of panelist style. So we'll hear Liza and Diane and myself. And of course, there's some other leaders on the phone too. So if there's something else that you want to share, please do.
Why don't you shoot out the question and we'll just jump in, and we probably can't shut up if we have, at least
yeah.
I can't.
It's true. Okay, so this is one of the most commonly asked questions, and I want you to put it in the chat if you've thought this. The question is, what if I'm not good at sales? Or I don't, like, can I do doTERRA and not be salesy? So you want to take that first, Diane?
Yeah, I mean, the couple of things that first jumped out in my mind is that we already are in sales all the time, right? If you're a parent, you are selling your kid to eat their vegetables. If you're a parent, you're selling them to get to bed. I mean, we're always in some level of negotiation. If you're trying to get a job, a traditional job, then you have to sell yourself to get hired. So it's really about sharing benefits rather than selling. Your job is not to make them say yes. Your job is to offer them the education and ask good questions to say, are you open to learning about something that's really been beneficial in my life? Is this something that you are open to? And there are some like really good ways of, having some in your back pocket permission-based questions, like, are you open to, right? So I just think that being a salesperson has this image that comes up of like this used car salesman, kind of sleazy, sorry, I'm going to try to force something on you that you really don't want. That's not the culture of doTERRA. That's not the culture of our community. It's really about education and sharing, like you would share a good movie or a good book or a good restaurant. Those are my first thoughts.
Yeah, that's great. I always say, like, just everybody ask themselves this for a second. Have you ever told all of your friends about a new restaurant in town? Like, the restaurant was so good that you couldn't shut up about it, right? And you told all your friends. What if that restaurant had given you 20% of the amount of money your friends spent there. And then 10% of the amount of money their friends spent there. And then 5% of a third degree of separation of affiliate commissions for referring their restaurant. That would be significant and forever, like ongoing, not just their first time. That's what Doterra does. And so if you can be in the mindset of, I'm just telling people about something that's really good and it's really helped me, and Doterra is giving me a thank you paycheck, that is different than I'm trying to sell someone something that they don't need so that I can get paid. And we often mix those two things when we think of sales. So that's really helped me to reframe things. What about you, Liza?
I feel like you guys pretty much said everything that I would have said. Everything is sales. We recommend restaurants and movies and clothing and jewelry, and we do these things naturally all the time and we don't think about it. And somehow when we benefit from that, then we start to have, issues around it. And I just really wanted to highlight what Nikki said, because I think it's so powerful. She said she had to reframe and understand that sales is service. We know that we have something people need, right? It's not another great shirt or, a piece of jewelry. This is something that improves people's health and wellness. So it really comes down to your mindset around it. And I don't know about any of your backgrounds, but I had no background in any type of sales. I had never worked retail. I had never worked like food and beverage, like a server that has to, share this. I've never worked any of those things. I've always just worked with kids. But when I started to think about like what Diane said, that I'm always selling my students, my children on something, it's so true. So it really comes down to our mindset around it. And I would say one more thing, even though I said I had nothing else to add, was that you have to learn to be okay with the no and the rejection, or just the like absolute ghosting. I think where I've come a long way is now I'm totally okay with that. And I don't take it personally. And the more I do it, the more I invite, the more I get told no, the more, the more comfortable I am with it. And I just know from experience that person isn't ready now. But I can't tell you how many people have come back and said, there was a reason why I didn't tell you to stop texting me, even though for 2 years, they maybe never replied to one text. They're like, now I'm ready. Now I need it. This is what's happening in my life. So.
Well, I'll add one last thing. And yes, thank you, Nikki, for that word service, because the opposite is true, in that it's a disservice if you're holding it back from somebody. Like if somebody is in pain, physically, emotionally, mentally, and you have something that's going to support them naturally, then why would you hold that back from them? Why? You wouldn't.
And Diane, here's where permission-based languaging comes in. Because we get all caught up in like, oh, I don't want to be salesy. Like, I don't want them to think that I'm trying to sell them. And so the key here, and I'll just role play with Diane for a moment, is say I know that Diane has suffered from migraines for her whole life. And I just discovered essential oils. And I know that I might take a few tries, but something like frankincense or peppermint or deep blue, or maybe deep blue polyphenols, or maybe the turmeric duo caps or lavender or copaiba, there's something I have that's going to help her. I have two options. I could bulldoze Diane and be like, oh my gosh, Diane, you have to try to put this frankincense under your tongue and rub this all over you, and this is going to heal you. You have to do this, right? And she might be like, whoa, Erin. Or I could say, Diane, I've known you for a long time, and I know that you've really struggled with these migraines. I've recently discovered something that I think could help. Would you be open to taking a look at it? And then she gets to come towards me or not.
Yeah.
And then the relationship is still good, because if Diane says, yes, tell me, then I get to share with her. And if she says, no, I'm not interested, then I get to go about being her friend, but I know I shared it. So I think permission-based languaging is the key to not being salesy, personally. Does anybody have any, like, did anything that we just talked about bring up another question for you or a clarification for you or something you want to dive deeper into? Let's see, Marilyn, please advise me on the best way to connect someone I used to work with that is a nurse, but main focus is her horses. For some reason, I'm stuck with how to contact her to take a look first at the oils, but I see her comments on Facebook and wishing she were in a place to retire. I know of no health concerns she might have. Okay, so if she loves horses, Marilyn, we have a great webinar on hellovisionary.life that I did about essential oils and horses. So it's the same thing. You reach out to her and you say, I watch you on Facebook and I know that you love horses and you've been looking for a way, or you want to retire. I've learned recently about essential oils and a really cool business that could help you mix the two. Would you be open to learning more about it? And you're always going to wait for her to say yes. Then you would connect her. Well, here's the webinar. And then you could also connect her to our business opportunity 20-minute video. Would you ladies have other things that you would say?
Well, don't be afraid to offer them a way to retire. This is their pain point. That you just said that's their pain point, right? And so, and obviously it takes a little bit more confidence. I'm not gonna lie, but it's no different than offering them an oil. You're helping them hit their pain point. I would say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. If I know maybe we haven't been in contact in a while, but I've been really seeing your posts about wanting to be in a place to retire. And I think I have a way that might be support you to be able to do that sooner than you think. Is that something you'd be open to talking about? You know, like that, I would be like, yes, please.
Let's make sure everybody is equipped with the tools here. I want to remind you all that if you go to, I'm just going to share my screen so you can see this. If you go to our website, hellovisionary.life, and you scroll down until you see a webinar called Health and Income, there it is. And you click on the watch it on Vimeo, and you go up here and you copy and paste it. You now have a short, it's 29 minutes, opportunity video. So when that woman that you're going to contact on Facebook says yes to what Diane just coached you on, then your next step is to say, I have a short 29-minute video. If I sent it to you, do you think you could watch it by Friday? And when they say yes, you go, great. So I'm going to reach out to you on Friday after you watch it, and we'll talk about it. I'll find out what your questions are, and I'll help you move forward to the next step. So I just want to make sure that everybody's putting the tools together and knowing the processes to make this successful. Because again, a thing that blocks us is not knowing what to do when they say yes. So save that link in your phone notes, so you have all your links. Liza, do you have anything to add to that question? Okay, well,
this time I'm really gonna, that's great.
Well, I'm gonna hit you with the next one, okay? So who here is like, this doTERRA business is so awesome. I want to make X amount of dollars. I want to make them in X amount of months. Show me the roadmap. Let's get started. Has anybody thought that? Or are you more the type that's like, Nikki's like, yes, yes. Marilyn's like, yes. Are you more the type who's just, I love these oils and I'm just going to share them. And if I make a paycheck, that's awesome. Okay, you're also that type. That's great too. So this question is for the type who wants a roadmap. Common question is, what's the fastest way to make $600 a month? And what's the roadmap? What would you tell someone, Liza?
I mean, in my mind, to make $600 a month, it would be to be getting your Power of 3 $250 bonus and be structuring towards the rank of, I mean, if you're that, there's a good chance that you're guaranteed an elite if not a premier. So that would be the power of 3 bonus for the win.
And how do you get your power of 3 bonus?
So your power of 3 bonus is really the bonus that helps me to structure my business in the beginning when I really had no idea what I was doing. It's an opportunity for you to help other people that are interested in a $600 paycheck as well, or possibly more. And they're helping people with their health and wellness. I love that Doterra gives us this capacity to, like, you really get to rise with other people simultaneously, right? So literally the power of 3 bonus is you with 3 people that each are getting their $50 bonus, right? For your $250. And so now you are helping other people to structure their organizations and share with others. And then if you duplicate that, you can move on to your 1,500. But as far as your $600 a month paycheck, it would be enrolling people, doing all the things, inviting, sharing, educating, enrolling people, and then building and structuring out for this power of 3 bonus. So there's you, and then you can see in the diagram that Erin put up, you have 3 people that have also shared with other people. And those people underneath them could be people that you've helped to place there, or can be people that those people have also gone through the pipes process with and enrolled and placed there as well. So
let's dive into this a little bit, because I think that these logistics can be really helpful. I completely agree with you, Eliza, that the power of 3 structure is going to give you more than $600 a month, because it's going to set you up for duplication. But it's a really great roadmap, because there's so many things we can do with the Doterra business, and there's actually 5 ways that you can earn income. But when you focus on the power of 3 bonus, it gives you a lot of focus to your business, and it structures you for platinum as well. And the average platinum income is $7,000 to $9,000 a month. So your goal might be 600, but if you're structuring this way and building this way, you might just find yourself a platinum, and that is awesome, right? So what the power of 3 bonus is really about, which Eliza is speaking to, and I just want to amplify it, is you're finding 3 people who also want to earn about $600 a month, or they have an interest in their 250 bonus. They have an interest in some residual income. So this is when you really want to learn how to look for business partners and for leaders. And it doesn't have to be someone who wants to go be all the way and be a diamond. It can be someone who, I would like an extra $600 a month. And an extra $600 a month can really change someone's life. And it doesn't require that they do this full time. They can have another job. They can be a stay-at-home mom. Really, anyone can put in the effort to earn that. But you're looking for people who have that desire. It's kind of the same with the permission-based languaging. Because if we just kind of go build under someone who wants to be a customer, then we haven't identified their desire. But if you identify their desire to earn this income, and then you say, I have a way you could do it, would you like to learn more? Then you can present them with the concept. Personally, what I did is I hosted multiple like dinner parties or little tea events, little socials at my house, and I invited people over, and then I presented the power of 3 to them. And I said, this train is leaving. Do you want to get on it with me or not? Like, I love you no matter what, but you're my friend. I'd love to do this with you, and I'm going. And when you hook on to a train that's going, you know, the momentum is built. So I presented it to my friends, and they said yes. A lot of them said yes. And that's how I started my power of 3 bonus. And then you are going to go help that person duplicate the same and continue on that journey. So to earn your power of 3 bonus, you have to be on your loyalty rewards order. And I like to encourage people to do 150 PV. It just makes everything a lot easier. And then your people who say yes to you, I want to go earn my power of 3, they need to be on their 150 PV loyalty rewards order. So that's a big moving part component here. But also, if you want to make $600 fast, like tomorrow, would anybody like to have $600 in their pocket, like right away? Host a class, invite everybody, say there's 10 people in attendance, and 5 of them enroll with 200 PV kits. Doterra's Fast Start bonus structure is going to give you a 20% commission. What is that? 200 PV kits times 5 people. That's $1,000, 20%. There you go. It's $200, right? Just for having a class. Then from that class, you book 5 more classes and you do it 5 more times, right? So that's a way that you can be like, okay, I'm going to hit my income goals on my way to my big goal. And then you start to realize, oh, maybe $600 was kind of a small goal because I can blow past it. Do you have anything to add to that, Diane?
No, I love this. I love this. And I think, you know, we've been doing this long enough to see that, like, we have this idea that we want people to come to work, to partner with us, who want to go all the way to diamond or blue diamond or presidential diamond. And then, but I think it's equally, and that's exciting, but we know there's some pitfalls around that too, if they get so excited, but then they find it maybe slower than they thought it was going to be. But when people come in and say, hey, I would love to hit $600 a month, there's, first of all, so much you can do with that in your business as far as your structuring. But also when they hit 600, they're like, oh, I can do this? And then all of a sudden their mind opens up. Their mind opens up to what's possible, and that 600, you're going to be like, oh, maybe I'll do $1,000 a month, and and then it's just going to grow from there. So I've been really playing with this idea lately a lot, because I've wanted, like, I had this morning. I was actually thinking about, we have this saying, like, we want to find people who are committed and capable, and I was like, if I were to choose and I was only allowed to have one, I'm like committed 100%. Like, people who are being their word, who, you can always teach them things, and with practice and commitment, they will learn it. Right? So I don't know. So I've just been playing with this idea of, it doesn't have to be this person who wants to go all the way right away, but have like this goal, like, I want to support my family by paying for our car payment, or paying for all the groceries this month, or what have you, and contribute that way, because then when they're able to do that, then they're going to see what's really possible. I don't know. So that's what has been on my mind actually lately.
Yeah, I think that's great, Diane. It makes me think of something, Nikki, you said when we were on the Monday call waiting to get started, and it was like, your husband totally supports your doTERRA budget. And it just makes me think about how we have this concept in doTERRA where we're taking people through open doors, and the first door is fall in love with the products, and then the second door is share and earn. And so when you have someone who's totally in love with the products and they're already happy spending the money, but then they get excited to share and they can earn some money, then it's these small approachable steps that you're winning off of. And it doesn't mean that you also aren't excited to bring someone on who's like, I see the vision, I want to go for diamond, I'm ready for it. But it's that we're inclusive and encompassing for everyone. And a love of the products is such a good foundation to have with all your customers and all your builders. Okay, ready for the next question? Oh, go ahead, Nikki.
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to elaborate on that a little bit, because before I found doTERRA, I kind of half joking, half in total fear used to say to my husband every day, how am I ever gonna retire? And I loved what I did, but as a mom with young kids at the time, We were both contractors. We still are. We were self-employed. We've had the cheapest of the cheap insurance that covers the bare minimum. And I always had this underlying feeling of anxiety about taking care of my family and healthcare and having to go to the doctor. I mean, we pay 100% until we hit like an $8,000 deductible. That's a big deal. And so not only is my husband supportive of me spending money because he takes so many supplements and uses so many oils as well, but we have so much peace of mind that every month we are bringing in from doTERRA alone way more than we are spending, and we never skimp. We never say, let's not get that supplement this month. Let's not get that oil that we need. And that is just, I mean, so many people spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on medication. And this saves people money. And along with that, stress and peace of mind.
Thanks for sharing that, Nikki. Absolutely.
Erin, you're muted.
Oh, thank you. So next question, what's the most successful way to help new sharers comfortably and effectively get enrolling? Okay, so we use some languaging in doTERRA. I'm gonna break that down into terms that we can all kind of talk about. Basically, like when somebody says they want to do this business with you, what's the fastest way to get them signing up their friends? So who wants to take that question?
I mean, I'm going to go back to my beginning, and that was like I didn't teach my first class. I had somebody teach it for me. So you get to support them by teaching a class, teaching them, saying, hey, just get a few of your friends together and let's have a little fun. Let's have a class. And I will teach it for you. Now, obviously, if you're brand new and you haven't taught a class, you're going to ask your person who enrolled you, your upline, to do the same for you. I mean, I think that's the most effective way, because that's the beauty of this business, is that we have our own business, but we're not in business alone, right? So we have the support of, and I have to say, like, the culture of this company, I was saying at the beginning, like I was texting, I'm doing a cross-line class with somebody who's not even in Visionary Leaders, and she's in doTERRA, but we're doing a class together, right? Because we can support each other. And so I love the culture of this company. So you don't have to feel like you have to figure it out on your own, that you get the support of your upline or crossline, you know? So, I mean, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I think that was the biggest gift in with doTERRA, is that I didn't feel like I had to have it all figured out on day one.
Yes, Diane, absolutely. I think this is something we can highlight here. The way to enroll people is through classes, through presentations. And when you are new, you might need a little support with that. I want to let everybody know that on July 20th, Haley Jones and I are teaching a workshop on how to have classes and how to rock them. So if you're kind of feeling like, oh, I don't know how to have a class, or you haven't had a class in a long time because of the pandemic, that's going to be a great place to come and get a refresher. When I first started my doTERRA business and I was building to Diamond, I had 2 classes a week, always on the books, non-negotiable. And at first, that's your class, right? That you're teaching and you're inviting your friends to. But this is network marketing, right? So we want to tap into our networks and the networks of our networks. So where you go from there is you have a class at your house, say 10 people come, and then you invite them to host you at their house for their friends. So now you can tap into the networks of those 10 people, and each person has at least 100 people that they can invite. They're not all going to come, but you can just keep doing that over and over and over again. So you'll get to a point where you could be teaching as many classes a week as you want to. And the more classes you teach every week, the more enrolling happens. And what happens at those classes that other people host, this was a big aha moment for me, is say, I teach a class at my house, 10 people come. One of those people is Nikki. And I tell people, well, if you'd like to host a class at your house, I'll come teach it. Maybe I give her a nice hostess gift. So Nikki goes, I'll host a class for you. So I go to Nikki's house, and she's like so networked and so influential. So like 20 people show up, right? And I teach this awesome class, and all of them purchase. And so I'm looking at all these purchases, knowing that I'd get a 20% commission check. And say I sold like $5,000 worth in product. How much is that commission check? That's $1,000, right? So I get to go to Nikki, and I get to say, Nikki, thanks for hosting this class. You're so awesome. You'd be really good at this. And you know what? There's $1,000 commission check coming from doTERRA. I'll take it, but I'd rather you take it. Do you want to learn how to do that? And I bet your mama, Nikki's going to be like, heck yeah, tell me how to do that. So that's how you find your next leader. That's how you find the next person that's good at this. And sometimes the person will be like, nope, I don't want to, you take it. That's fine. And you're like, great, no problem, I'll take it. But that's how you build. So if you're currently like sitting in your living room wondering how you build, go schedule a class, and then schedule another class and another class. And if you don't know how to teach classes or you're a little rusty, come to the webinar on July 20th, because Haley and I'll help you get started again. Liza, anything to add to this conversation?
I have a few thoughts running around in my head. I think along with the scheduling classes, and I'm sure Erin then will go more in depth, I think the inviting part is really critical. I mean, we've talked about that before, and the permission-based language, but a lot of times people will feel like, I got all these classes on the books, but nobody came. And you really have to be really intentional and strategic about the way you reach out and how often you reach out and what that invitation sounds like. So there's that aspect. And then just not to throw a wrench in it, but just to offer a different perspective, because I think that the world has thrown us for a curveball. I know for us, we built with in-person need classes. Like that's what we did. And then everything went a different route, right? And so we're slowly trying to get people back in person. But I also want to give the perspective that if you're scheduling classes and you're inviting effectively, and that's not necessarily having the payoff that you want, keep doing those things because they're important and they will have the payoff, but also be willing to try other things and meet those people that you're inviting where they're at. You know, if they're not open to coming to a class in person with a bunch of other people, are they willing to get together with you one-on-one for coffee? Are they willing to get together with you in a Zoom room, right? Like we have to also be very flexible with this as well, so that we are always showing up, like Nikki said, in service and meeting people where they're at. And that's what can be tricky in this business, is you feel like you're doing all the things and then you keep doing those things and they might not have the payoff you want. That doesn't mean those things are not valuable or good, or you shouldn't keep doing that, but you also have to be willing to sort of pivot and figure out how people that you're inviting or wanting to attract, where they're at and how they can meet you there.
Yeah, so good. Really good points. I was just on a training yesterday, and the trainer was talking about how we have to shake it off every day. So if you come to the end of the day in your business and you're like, I rocked it today, I enrolled all these people, I did such an awesome job, I ranked up, I got my power of 3 bonus, you have to wake up the next morning and completely forget about all that and just do the activity over again. If you have a day that sucked and nobody came to your class, you didn't enroll anyone, nothing worked out, you also have to shake that off and start over the next day. So it's kind of the same thing with classes. Nobody's coming? Okay, well, what do I do next? Tons of people coming? Okay, well, where's my next class? And my line that I like to use when I'm talking to someone and they seem interested, but they are not showing up to my classes, is I will say, we had a great class last night. I missed you there. I took notes for you. Can you meet for coffee tomorrow? And I'll share the notes and I'll bring you, like a little roller sample or something. So having those things that you say, so you don't even have to think about it. It's just what you do. You go through your invite list. Oh, she didn't come. He didn't come. They didn't come. Okay, I'm going to contact them, say I have notes, try to set up a one-to-one. But that piece that we're all kind of talking about, which is like, some will, some won't. So what? Who's waiting? You really have to embody that, because it can take you down if you're relying on like this one person coming to your class because they've been interested, and you're like, they're going to come and they're going to sign up, and then they don't come, and you're like, oh, this business is horrible. I'm horrible. I can't do this. That's where you're going to fail. But if you can go, yeah, they didn't come, some will, some won't. So what? Who am I inviting to the next one? How am I going to follow up with them? How can I serve them? That's how you find success in this business, is not giving up. My mentor, Justin Harrison, he's the top, like the very first wellness advocate. He would always say this thing, and it really stuck with me. And it was, this is a marathon, not a race. The only way you lose is to not be here at the finish line. And the way you win is you just keep doing it. And I really held on to that. And I kind of like statistically have taken a really long road with Doterra, but that's okay, because I'm still here and I'm still standing. Nikki, the only way to lose is to quit.
That's right. And never quit on a bad day. That one always sticks for me. And the other thing that I think we get to embody that just kind of, I think for me, encapsulates this is just serene detachment. Like, just be it, and that doesn't mean disinterested. It's detached from the yes or the no, because you can't control that. And so if you allow that answer to determine your success, your ability to keep going, your mood, like what have you, then it doesn't matter what you're doing. That's a rough road. It's a rough road. You have to, I think one of the things I think that deeply makes a difference for people in this business is belief. Belief, deep, deep, deep belief. And as you grow in this business, your belief grows. So you start out believing in the oils, and then you start out believing in the company and the culture, and then you work to believing in the business opportunity. You work in believing in yourself. You work in believing in your team. You work in believing in your upline, in your leadership. Like, this expands, and as that expands, like that, there's no turning back, right? It's hard to turn back when you continue to grow that way. And if you can always just keep tapping into your belief, saying, okay, what went well? What didn't go as well? What can I do better and different? If you ask yourself that every time you invite somebody, every time you have a class, what did I do well? What didn't go as well as I had hoped? What can I do better and different? You can't help but get better, right? You're always going to grow. So I really do feel like your level of belief and just the committed action and shaking it off, and remembering the no is not a reflection of you, right? The no is about them. The no is about them. It's all about them, right? There was something that we were talking about early, and I had a thought, and then it left my brain. But Erin, you were talking about we were talking about the sales part, and I was thinking about how I'm afraid. What are they going to think about me? I'm going to feel so weird. It's going to be so hard. That's like all about you. When you're in that mindset, you are only thinking about yourself, right? And the moment you take that energy and put it on being others focused, everything's going to shift. Like energetically, it's not about you, it's about them.
Good stuff. This is golden mindset stuff. Yeah, go ahead, Nikki.
Sometimes I do something, it's called pre-paving, and it's not about the results that I want, it's about how I want to feel, right? So like leading up to meeting with someone, I'll just, I am kind of a crazy person. I walk around talking to myself all the time. And so when you can say things out loud or write them down, when you write down, your point of focus is the clearest, right? So sometimes that is a really good way to get things out, but I'll just say things like connection. And I love connecting with people, and it always feels good to be helpful and to help someone. And I love that I have an excuse to call Michelle today. And oh my gosh, Michelle and I have so many great memories together. And remember that time we did this in college, right? Like it's off the subject of oils and health, but it just gets me into that heart-centered space. And then it's not about the sale or not the sale. And, you know, I love this analogy. Like if you plant seeds in the ground, right? If you planted some tomato seeds and then the next day you went in your garden, you'd be like, oh, I'm such a failure. There's no tomatoes here today. No, it takes some time. And we are planting seeds, and some seeds grow fast and some seeds take a really long time. I mean, I said no to the business for a year. And I'm so grateful that I had someone who was brave enough to keep asking and to put herself aside, because she has completely changed my life and my whole family's life. And I think about that also before I meet with people, like what I said no to. And sometimes I'll remind myself, like, I don't go to every class I'm invited to, and that's okay. I don't not like that person who invited me. There's a really great thing on YouTube. I believe it's called 100 Days of No. And it's all about reframing rejection. And this guy, he found that he was looking for investors for his company, and he got a no, and he went, oh, okay. And he walked away, and then he went, well, wait a minute, like there are more people out there. And so he realized he had all this sensitivity from childhood about rejection. So he just started asking random things, like walking up to a security guard and saying, hey, can I have $100? And just getting used to someone saying no. And my favorite one was he went to someone's house and he knocked on their door and said, I have this flower and I'd love to plant it in your backyard. And the woman said, oh, no, thank you. And instead of just saying, okay, thanks, bye, he asked, do you mind if I ask why? And she said, well, I have this dog and my dog digs up everything that I put in the backyard. But you know what? My neighbor next door loves flowers. Why don't you go over there? And it just reminds you to be inquisitive. And I always think when I hear a no, it's like, I didn't show that person that this had value for them yet. And they haven't seen the value of what I'm offering. And so it's just a matter of time before they see how much value it has. So reframe rejection and that belief. You cannot, everything goes back to your belief. And when you believe that your connection is genuine and authentic and is serving everybody, it will change all your interactions.
Thank you, Nikki.
So
Thank
good.
you. And let's remember, it's rare that someone actually says no. They usually like ghost you or something, and we don't know what's going on with them. So I think this mindset that we're starting to share with you is really important, but let's put it into practical terms. Okay, so that's the mindset. What do I wake up every day and do? And, we really believe in something called the DMO on this team. That stands for your daily method of operation. It makes me think of what Diane was saying, like, what did you call it? Compassionate indifference or
Serene detachment.
Serene detachment. So we don't care if people say yes, we don't care if they say no, but we're obsessed with our DMO. Like our DMO is non-negotiable. Like I said, I can have one day. If I miss 2 days of my DMO, game over. That's how I feel. I know Eliza feels similar. The DMO is just the living, breathing of my Doterra business. So your DMO can be different depending upon your goals. Like if your goal is to be founder 2.0 and diamond like yesterday, your DMO is going to be a lot more intense than if your goal is to make $600 a month. But in a nutshell, your DMO has to do with how many people have you invited to the class? How many people have you followed up with? How many people have you supported in the business? How many people have you invited to the business? And you want to come up with a number. I like the number 2. Some people say 5. How many new people have you met? Like you're networking. And you come up with this DMO for yourself. We've designed one for you. I can share my screen and show it to you. But you come up with a DMO and it's non-negotiable. It's what you do every day. And it's so like easy to do and so easy not to do. That's kind of the sweet spot there, but you want to find something that you can wake up and you can like knock it off, like knock it off your list. It's done. So yeah, we like to say 2. So 2 invitations, 2 business conversations, 2 follow-ups, and 2 new contacts. And it kind of brings us into the next common question. And I'm going to take this over to you, Liza. The question is, I feel like I don't know anyone. Who do I talk to? So have you felt that? Like you sit down to do your DMO and in your mind, you're like, the lady said, I need to invite 2 people and you follow up with 2 people. I need to have 2 business conversations and I need to meet 2 new people. I haven't left my house in 2 years. Who do I talk to? I don't know who to talk to. So Liza, what would you say to that?
Well, I just want to kind of reiterate that that the DMO is the foundation of everything. And I wrote in the chat, like if you feel like your pipes, and for those of you that aren't familiar, pipes is preparing, inviting, presenting, enrolling, and supporting. And this is our system of support in Doterra. But if you feel like they're stagnant or stuck or clogged, or Bernice said trickling, then your DMO is what is going to help you feel like you can get back on track, because you should always feel like a sense of flow in this business. And that doesn't mean that you're going to feel that every single day, but in general, you should feel that sense of flow. Now, with that being said, the context part can be tricky for people. And I think we need to remember that everyone is a contact, right? And I know that Doterra has a couple of resources out there about, I can't remember what it is. Maybe one of you guys remember it. But in terms of like brainstorming all these different sectors in your life where you know people, we all know people. I would recommend, and I've done this before, go through your contact list. Go through your contact list, because even if they're actually a contact, if you've never talked to them about oils or thought of them for oils, they are really a new contact. I remember I did this once and I was contacting 10 people a day from just from my phone list. And I enrolled several people in that 1 week. Just reaching out like, hey, I'm actually cleaning out my phone list. Like, is this you? They respond, hey, Liza, I haven't heard from you. You know, what's going on? And you get in a natural conversation. If it felt natural to talk about Doterra or invite them at that point, I did. So we all have contacts everywhere. If you have dedicated customers that love what they have you asked them if they know anybody that would be interested, right? Are you asking for referrals? This is an area of weakness for me. And what's funny is just this last week in Boga Week, I got 2 referrals that I didn't even ask for, that people came to me. I offered for them to enroll them. They're like, nah, you can do it. I gave them great gifts as incentives for giving me the referral. I'm like, why don't I ask people more for these referrals? So it's really about being creative when it comes to contacts, and then being brave, right? Your posts, you know, your mail person is a contact. The trash guys are contact. We had a member on our team once share, she enrolled like 17 people 1 month. And she shared about the fact that like, she would call places, like say she's setting up pest control and she's talking to the pest control people and they're setting up and whatever. And then she's like, by the way, I mean, I probably shouldn't ask you this right now, but I'm just curious. Have you ever heard about essential oils? And the person would be like, yes or no. And she enrolled several people this way. If if you don't mind giving me your number, I can just send you information when you're not at work or whatever. And she enrolled people this way. So there are so many people out there. Now, in Aaron's case, if you haven't actually left your house, you can still do the phone contacting. You can do that on social media. It's just really about being brave and being willing to put yourself out there. And like Diane just popped into the chat now, this is a relationship building business. And I feel like that's why many of us have been successful, because we put people first. We put people first. Every person that we meet, we care about, or that we reach out to, we genuinely care about. And then we want to be able to offer them these solutions, whether they be health, wellness, financial, or whatever. So I see that Aaron just pulled up a document too. So I'll let her talk about that.
This is just the document you were talking about, the memory jogger from Doterra. I put the link in the chat, and they give you some prompts like, if you could do business with anyone, who would it be? So this is where you really have to stop your filter. We all have this filter where we go, well, I'd love to do business with my college best friend, but she would never want to do that. You can't judge it. You just put her name down. If her name popped into your head, there's a reason. And, if you believe in divine guidance and your higher power, sometimes that's dropped in your head for reasons. Just write it down. Who do you know that needs Doterra? Instantly, maybe you think of your uncle who has digestive issues. Put their name down. Who do you know that's open to natural health care? You're like, oh, I just met this mom and she's super crunchy and she had all these great products she's recommending. I put her down. And then they also give you just other ways to think of people, like your family, who has these interests, who sold you your computer, your copier, who does your skincare. So these are all contacts and leads. And what Diane is saying in the chat is so important. It's not like you have to immediately go ask them if they want to buy oils from you. It's about building your Rolodex and being a networker. And I do understand that some people are natural networkers and this is easy for you. And then some people are not natural networkers and it's not as easy. So if it's not as easy for you, I would encourage you to do a little exercise called 3-footing. Maybe this can be our call to action for this webinar. So what 3-footing is you give yourself a time frame, say it's 5 days, whatever's manageable for you. It could be 3 days, 5 days. And you purposely go out to the grocery store, to the post office. Maybe you walk your neighborhood, you go to your downtown shopping area and you window shop. And the idea is this: every single person that you come within 3 feet of, you strike up a conversation with them. Now, you're not talking to them about your oils or your product or whatever. You're just practicing the conversation strike up. So if this makes you uncomfortable, I have some tips for you, don't worry. The first step is you make eye contact and you smile. And if they smile back, that is permission to go forward. If they kind of like avert their eyes and just move away, fine, let them go. But if you see this person, you make eye contact, you smile, they smile, then you get to say something. And the thing you can say is, wow, Diane, or I don't know your name. Wow, those earrings are so beautiful. Where did you get them? Or you could say, oh my gosh, you have a great smile. I hope you're having a good day. Or I love this one, like when you're in the grocery store checkout and the person's in front of you and you're kind of looking at like all their food and their stuff they're buying, make a comment like, wow, that's a lot of kale. Do you drink green smoothies? So it could be anything. Even just when you're going and you're getting like a cup of coffee from your favorite coffee shop, stop, pause, look the barista in the eyes, smile, and genuinely say, I hope you're having a good day. I love the shirt you're wearing. Where did you get that? And so you do this 3-footing for a 3 or a 5 day period without any intention of talking about your product or your business. You're just getting used to networking and being friendly. And sometimes what'll naturally happen is you'll make a connection and you'll exchange phone numbers, or you'll follow them on social media. Or sometimes, because our oils kind of smell good, right? And people tend to say stuff about the way you smell, it will turn to a conversation about the product. So if you're, a little uncomfortable with like networking and meeting new people, try 3-footing. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's so fun. My whole family loves it because we're all, into network marketing. So we will just go to the farmer's market and 3-foot. And I've even taught it to Emma, my 4-year-old. I've taught her how to make a friend, and she'll say to me now, Mom, I made eye contact and smiled, and they smiled back at me. And I'm like, good, that means you can say hello and ask them their name. So that's 3-footing. I know it's have you done that, Diane?
No, but it just reminded me, because I just recently moved back to Southern California, and I went to like an outdoor local neighborhood music show, and I pulled in, and I didn't know if I was in the right place, and this other couple pulled in at the same time, and I just looked, I was like, is this the right place? And she's like, yeah. And then she had this really cool chair. I'm like, that's a really cool chair. And then we saw each other in the middle of the event, and she's like, hey, parking lot lady. And now we're like great friends. Like I just invited her to the Aroma Touch training. She's like, yeah, I'm totally into it. Let's go. You know what I mean? So, and it was like, this is the first time I actually, on the second time I hung out with her, I brought her a little sample, but said nothing. Like, it was just like, to me right now, like in the beginning, I was telling Joyce, like, the friendship's more important than anything else right now. If she wants to buy oils, she'll buy oils, but so it just like, it naturally happens. Right. So yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you just become a person who's well networked and well connected. I have people tell me all the time, wow, Erin, you're so resourceful. Like, you know everybody. And I have people tell me all the time, like, oh, I've heard of you, right? So my friend said something about you, right? Because you just become networked and you are someone who knows people, and then you start to help people. And this is how it grows.
I think one other thing, when you were talking about the DMOs and the consistency, and like, okay, you miss one day, but then when you start missing the second day, there's also a mind thing that happens, and you're like, oh, and it's so much harder to start over. It's so much harder it's like to stop and start this business is definitely harder. So if you just get in the habit of doing even one thing a day, it's going to make a huge difference, so that you don't always have to feel like you're creating another new habit and starting the business over again. So I really feel like the more you can stay consistent with whatever level, even if it's 1, 1, 1, and 1 a day, until you build up to 2, 2, 2, and 2 a day, then it might be 3, 2, 1, 2. You know what I mean? Just do something every single day, and you won't get clogged. Your pipeline won't get clogged. You're just going to be in this flow, in this rhythm, in this habit. Like anything else, it becomes a habit when you're doing it consistently, and it becomes easier when you're doing it consistently.
It reminds me of a quote very early on when I started the business that we say all the time now. It's from Justin Harrison, right? You can do this business part-time, which I definitely did for the vast majority of my time, building. You can do this business full-time, which many people do, but you can't do this business sometimes. And that quote is so powerful in its simplicity, that sometimes it's not going to cut it on so many levels, because it'll mess with your mindset, and your mindset will mess with your productivity. And then the lack of productivity, it's just like this sick cycle. If you get into a rhythm and a flow of doing little things every single day, it makes the world of difference, and the payoff is definitely there.
Okay, we're going to close up because we are a little bit over, and we really appreciate everybody spending their time with us. I want to leave you with your call to action list. Do not come to webinars like this and then get off the webinar without an action list. So number one, go schedule your classes. Go schedule your classes. And if you need support from your upline, ask for it. And if you don't have an upline to support you, contact one of us and we will support you. Get those classes on the books. Start some 3-footing. Start meeting some new people. Start building your Rolodex, as they used to call it. And then commit to your DMO. Decide what DMO is attainable for you. Let me just bring up our suggested DMO one more time in case you need one. Oh, where'd it go? You can take a screenshot of this. Put it up somewhere. Another way to really help yourself like get used to a daily DMO is to have an accountability partner group. And so what it could be your upline or it could be other people, but it's basically someone that you check in with morning and night. And it's really simple. I'm doing my DMO today. You text them that in the morning. And then at the end of the day, you text them and you say, I did my DMO. And just having someone who is holding you accountable can really help you get into the habit. And then you will just get to a point where you're like, you do it no matter what. It's the business. This is the business in a nutshell right here. New people to talk to, invite people to classes, follow up with people, talk to people about the business. If you do that every day, ongoing, and you don't quit, you will have success. It's inevitable. So we loved being with y'all today, and hopefully we'll see you on the classes workshop. And of course, every Monday at 5 p.m. Thank you to my co-teachers, Diane and Eliza. I appreciate you. And thanks to everybody who showed up.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
What does DMO stand for?
Oh, that's a great question. Daily method of operation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question.
Have a good day.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye-bye.